interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you the latest episode of Across the Board. Effects of listening to this podcast may include being educated on a random topic, shock, hysterical laughter, and an overwhelming feeling of wanting to subscribe to future episodes. This episode will start momentarily.
So, quick recap. We had to take a week off because we both got a cold.
Yes. Apparently everyone's getting a cold.
Apparently it's COVID, but I think it's just a cold.
Well, we didn't have COVID, but
We did not have COVID.
it was pretty bad cold.
Yeah, it happens. It sucks.
But now we're good.
Now we are good. So I'm thinking this episode may actually just get published tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to talk about today.
Yeah.
If anybody's paying attention, today is Wednesday, September 10th.
Mm-hmm.
On the eve of September 11th, unfortunately. If you've been living under a rock, Charlie Kirk, who's a political activist is the way they're calling him, was shot and unfortunately killed today.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, political motivated violence makes zero fucking sense to me.
Agree.
Absolutely. There's zero reason for any of that. There's zero excuse for any of that. There's multiple things going on right now, though, that are just kind of fucking with my head.
Mm-hmm.
One is that somebody thought that it was okay to take someone's life because they didn't agree with them politically.
Well, just to take someone's life in general, too, you know.
Yes, but I'm saying for
situation.
such a bullshit reason.
Yeah.
There are certain reasons, there are certain times where it's justified.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're protecting yourself, you're protecting your family, you're whatever.
Right.
Times it's justified. But because you simply didn't agree with somebody,
You chose to take their life.
it's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
It shows how much of a weak, spineless piece of shit that person was.
Right. There's clearly we all disagree on certain things.
We disagree with each other.
In any situation, right? There's always disagreements. There's always arguments, but you never think about taking someone's life over someone has differing opinions and beliefs than you.
But that's the thing is, like, I don't even think about fighting with somebody physically because of differing opinions.
I'm just wondering what goes through your mind to have that much hate in your heart to be able to actually go through with something like this.
I don't even think I don't think that's a healthy brain.
I don't think so either.
I think that's definitely something that is just it's some form of psychosis or something. I don't know. It's mental. I don't know what the word is for it. Anyway, that's part of it. Part of it is that some piece of shit, and I mean, you haven't seen the video. I've watched the video.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
I
don't need
I've
to see
said this
that.
before, but I'm going to say it for the audience. If you haven't watched the video, please don't.
I've heard it's super brutal. I can't even imagine.
Well, it's, you know, the weird part is like when I saw the video, it was still early on, and nobody had reported that he had passed yet.
Mm-hmm.
It was reported that, you know, he had been shot. Video came out. And at that point in time, there were reports that were saying that he was transported to the hospital and that he was in critical but stabilizing condition.
Mm-hmm.
So when I opened that video, you know, in my head, I'm like, okay, he got shot, but he's alive.
You just didn't know where he got shot.
But the thing of it is as soon as you watch the video, you realize that you just watched somebody die. I don't know how else to explain that. Like there was zero question in my mind as to whether or not he survived that.
Right.
I have never seen that much blood spill out of somebody that quickly, ever. And you know me, I watch the weirdest fucking goriest videos. Like,
yeah, I don't know why.
yeah, it's a guy thing, I think. But the reason I'm saying this is if you haven't seen the video, just don't watch it. Seriously. Like for anybody that's watching, listening, whatever, don't watch the video. It's not worth it. It's somewhat traumatizing if you're not some millennial that grew up watching like Faces of Death and shit like that.
It's just traumatic in general. But for people who haven't heard what's going on, can you explain where it was? And
so this was at the which one was it? It was
Utah?
the university. It was the Utah Valley University or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was in Utah. He's doing one of his normal things where he's,
debating
students, having them ask questions, going back and forth. And whether or not you agree with the guy, and listen, there's things that he says that I don't agree with. There are things that I do agree with, whatever. But at the end of the day, he was doing his normal thing. He was sitting there. He was talking to college-age students. And just completely out of nowhere, single shot comes out, hits him, and then panic ensues. They, at the moment, had arrested somebody. Or apparently,
I saw a video.
Yeah, some older guy.
But everyone was like, "That cannot be the person that just did this."
Well, so they were the claim was that was him. I think somebody yelled out that was him or something like that. So they arrested the guy, and then shortly thereafter they said, "Nope, that wasn't him. We don't have a suspect." And this was all unfolding throughout the day. It was like every 5-10 minutes there was a development. The latest development that I just heard, and I haven't confirmed this, but I am reading that the FBI has confirmed that they have arrested a suspect.
Okay.
So
do you know who it is?
We don't know anything about
him yet. Okay.
Or him or her.
So you had mentioned that this person was 200 yards away.
They estimated that the shot came from about 200 yards away.
And it was at the university.
It was at the university. Yeah, it was outside. It's like a courtyard or whatever. I mean,
I'm just wondering, maybe this is a stupid question, but do they check students for anything before they walk onto campus? Because I remember when I was going to college, there was none of that. Like, they didn't check anything.
Well, I don't think.
But this was also a very large.
Yeah, to my knowledge, this is just like a regular. It's not like a small private university that's like fenced in kind of thing. It's just a large open campus, so anybody could just wander off the street and.
Yeah, that's how my university was. But
that's most.
But how do you walk in with something that big?
That's what I don't understand, because clearly this wasn't a handgun. 200 yards, you're not doing that with a handgun. You're probably walking in with some type of sizable rifle.
Right.
Whether it was concealed in a backpack or something, maybe. I don't know. I mean, but...
It might. I mean, your school no one's going to question you wearing a backpack. We even had that conversation yesterday.
We literally had that conversation. Yeah. People with backpacks that are not on school grounds make me nervous.
But you're on school grounds and you're wearing a backpack.
Exactly.
No one's going to think twice about that.
So, but then also, you got to also imagine that, I don't know if you saw videos of the size of the crowd. There were at least a couple thousand people there.
I saw like one snip of people running. There were like bleachers, I think.
There was all kinds of stuff. There were areas that were elevated that looked like maybe they were like cafeteria or something like that, which was basically, it wasn't the roof of the building, but it was the roof of the lower floor.
Okay.
So there were people all over the place. There were people up here. There were people in the crowd, on the field. So there was people everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you see a picture or video of this, you'll realize the size of the crowd. So that's another thing, another aspect that probably helped conceal this piece of shit was that there were so many people that.
But I mean, he couldn't have been. He had to have been alone.
You're assuming it's a he.
Or her. He or her. Him or her.
Or them.
Him, they, her, whoever it is.
Well, I'm sorry,
this person. Okay?
Unfortunately, the last few shootings have been they, thems, which is
this
also
person that did this, I would assume was alone, because there's no way you can take out a big old thing and do that while people are around. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
They probably somehow got up to the roof of the building or something like that, because if you're going to take a shot like that at 200 yards, you're not going to do it just...
But don't you think there should be more security?
They had security. They had cops. They had local cops. They had university police, and he has his own security that goes with him.
Yeah, well,
and somehow they all missed it. And so,
but it's always like that, isn't it? Somehow they must have missed it.
Well,
like
what? But here's the thing, too, though, is you go back a year, and the former president of the United States and presidential nominee for the Republican Party, who at the time still had Secret Service protection for both those reasons, was shot at by somebody with the Secret Service and local police involved. And now this is a guy that, he's known, and he's, he's, I guess, a prominent political player, I would say.
To be completely honest with you, I would have no idea who this person was unless you had mentioned him or sent me like a video of him or something. Well, I would not have known because I don't really follow politics, especially right-wing politics. I don't follow politics in general. So
and that's understandably so. But like, I feel like a lot of people have at some point or time, and typically around election times, will have been scrolling on Instagram or TikTok and seen a video of him debating a student about something.
Yeah.
He's been around. He's been around for a little while. So,
I didn't know he was that young, honestly.
Yeah, he was 31
years old. I thought he
old.
was a little older than that. That's really sad. And he has a wife, two kids.
2 young kids.
They'll never know their father. And I've already seen some videos on TikTok celebrating.
This is the second part that I was going to get to.
You know what I mean? Like,
the fact that there are people celebrating the death of a person.
Yeah.
First and foremost, if you're watching this and you've ever celebrated somebody being shot at, whether it was Trump, whether it's Charlie Kirk or anybody else, if you're watching this and you've celebrated that, you are a piece of shit. I will say that flat out. If you've celebrated somebody being shot at, you're a piece of shit. Stop watching. Go away. I don't want it.
Yeah.
No human being should ever celebrate the death or attempted murder of another human being. Mm-hmm. The only death that anybody should celebrate is the death of somebody who absolutely had it coming.
Yeah.
Somebody who's murdered other people. Somebody who's murdered babies. Somebody who's
murdered an innocent girl on a train.
Yeah, that's another thing that we could talk about.
Yeah.
But my point is somebody having murdered somebody because they don't agree with their ideology is fucking bonkers.
It's insane.
It is literally insane. It's the definition of being psychotic. Like that. There's no excuse for that. I don't give a shit how much you hated the guy. I don't give a shit that you hated that he was Christian, that he was conservative, that he said something that you didn't like that hurt your fucking feelings. Get the fuck over it. That still does not excuse violence in any form, but then to that level of violence,
to take someone's life.
I mean,
that's not even to take his life, to take the life away from his family.
Well, it's exactly. It's not that. Well, there's a few different. Like literally, I'm this pissed off about it. I can't even fucking speak. I don't care if this was, and there's going to be somebody watching this going, well, yeah, he's probably conservative. That's why. No, I don't give a fuck who it is. If this was a Democrat, staunch Democrat, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter who it is. To try to kill somebody because of their political views, I don't know. I don't think that there's a punishment that's bad enough for somebody.
Mm-hmm. I'm really curious to know who this person is.
I'm sure we'll hear in the next day or two. Yeah. But I feel like because this is apparently becoming a thing, and I'm sorry, but I don't know of any instance where the person committing the violence was a Republican against a Democrat. I feel like it's mostly the other way around. And I'm going to assume here, we don't know what the motivation was, but I'm going to assume that because this guy was a very conservative political figure, that the person who decided to take his life in front of thousands of people is probably on the opposite end of the spectrum politically.
You never know, though.
You don't.
You can't say for sure. You never know.
But I'm assuming.
It's just an assumption, exactly.
And here's the other fucking wild part about this. The fact that this guy was shot on a stage in front of thousands of people and the shooter was able to get away from that venue.
I'm telling you, like, this person had to be, this person had to be far away enough to be able to just like walk away.
So I'm going to, really quick, I'm going to assume that it's a he because like 90% of the
that's
time,
just
probably,
what it's been.
It's always been a male in situations like this. I mean, in any kind of political violence situation, I think it's like 100% of that has always been male.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was able to somehow get away, slip away unnoticed, is fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like with all the cops, the private security, everybody around, like nobody saw anything. All the students around on that campus, nobody saw something. Nobody said, hey, wait a minute. Like, I just heard that shot from right here.
Yeah.
Let me turn my head and see who the fuck that was. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of shock and people started running. But at the same time, you would think that you hear a noise. Your instinct is to look over to see where that noise came from.
Yeah. Did you hear? So when I was, looking at videos and seeing some of the comments, a lot of people were leaving a quote that he had said, I think back in 2023, something to the extent of you for gun laws, some deaths are for it to like
basically something
for
along
us
the
to have
lines
the
of
Second Amendment, we have to
there
deal
will
with,
unfortunately be deaths.
Yeah.
Well, and
it's ironic.
It's ironic, but the thing is nobody suggested that random violence was going to be the sacrifice for the Second Amendment. And I don't know what he meant by it because I'm not the one who said it. In my head, that interprets to, well, yeah, if we have the Second Amendment, there are going to be some people that are going to get in altercations or they're going to get shot because they try to do something wrong. I don't take it as, you're some people are just going to die because some asshole fucking lost his fucking mind and took a shot at somebody.
And that's what a lot of people are thinking.
Yeah, but to think that way, I feel like you have to be fucking retarded. To think that, oh yeah, it's normal for people to just go insane and randomly shoot at somebody, that's a stupid way of looking at it. The more correct way of looking at things is, people should be allowed to carry guns. And unfortunately, every so often, somebody's going to get mugged or something like that's going to happen where the person carrying the gun is going to shoot and kill the perpetrator.
Yeah.
Which is a normal way of looking at things, is if somebody commits a crime, there's a chance that they might get killed. Totally normal. Nobody's thinking that at some point somebody's going to get killed for zero reason whatsoever and that's okay. Listen, I love guns. I support the Second Amendment. I think every household should have a gun. I think that people of sound mind should be allowed to carry a gun and be allowed to protect themselves in the case that some shit goes horribly wrong. But I also don't think that guns should be taken so lightly.
You're also an avid believer of, if you're going to own one, then you need to be like
100%.
Given like stability tests and things
110%.
like that. Like,
I think that there are too many people that own guns that are not of sound mind. I think that there are too many people that even now, because after the couple of years ago, there was that Supreme Court ruling that basically made it so that every police department has to issue carry permits. I think that the requirement to get a carry permit is still not as stringent enough.
Yeah.
I think that there should be a little bit more.
I agree.
A little bit more in terms of proficiency, a little bit more in terms of a background check is great, but maybe
even the test.
Not even just the test.
But you remember how easy it was for me, someone who's never dealt with them.
Yeah.
Right? Well, like to take it and to be like, oh, you passed. Like, no.
But that's just for gun ownership. Now, here's the thing is like, there's you can argue a couple different ways. because what people that are very, very, very pro Second Amendment, by the word of the Second Amendment, will say is that there should be no obstacles to being able to exercise your gun rights.
No, that's wrong.
So people say that there shouldn't be any kind of taxation, testing, anything. There should no background checks.
Wrong.
While I would love to say that that should be the case, I know the reality of the world that we live in, and that this country has a serious fucking mental health problem.
Absolutely.
And that being the case, I think there does need to be some kind of barricades. I do think there should be some obstacles, because at the end of the day, we're not living in a time where, even 60 years ago, before gun laws became a thing, I mean, let's go back to the 40s and 50s. You could walk in a store, buy a gun, take it home.
Yeah.
How many people were getting killed by guns? How many mass shootings were there?
Well, would we know about that? Because, again, social media.
But statistics are kept. Statistics are kept by the FBI, the DOJ, and the statistics basically tell us that it's been ramping up.
I'm wondering why, though.
Because people are sick in the head now.
But why now?
Why
has it progressively gotten worse?
I can go off on an hour and a half tirade on that. My genuine belief as to why people are going more and more crazy is a combination of social media, violence in TVs and movies, and more importantly, I think it really comes down to the chemicals that are present in the food, the water, the pharmaceuticals, and probably some form of radiation poisoning from Wi-Fi, fucking radio signals, all this stuff that wasn't around in the 40s and 50s.
Right.
Which is now just constantly everywhere, and it's just slowly eating away at people's brains. And depending on how much exposure you have is the level of crazy that you're at.
But you have to have some kind of like mental instability
for
it to get to that level, because all of us deal with those things.
Granted, but we also, like, just look at it generationally. You know, generationally, how rampant was anxiety in, people that were born in the 40s and 50s? How many people were autistic that were born in the 40s and 50s? How many people had severe learning disabilities or ADHD or any of that stuff? Granted, they didn't have names for this stuff back then, but you didn't have this level of...
It wasn't to this extent.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, is even without naming it, we still didn't have this level of mental... I'm not going to call it retardation, but that is what it is. If your brain is not fully developing correctly, it is retardation to some extent or another. Now, it could be a 0.1% retardation versus the norm, or it could be, 70% retardation. Retardation just means a lack of development in the normal cycle. The fact is that this is my personal belief. I don't want to get into it because we can go into 1,000 different things. Whether we're talking about pesticides on the food, whether we're talking about preservatives, whether we're talking about just the amounts of, like, for example, sugars and fats and everything that's in everybody's daily diet, all this stuff alters your brain physically and chemically. And you get enough of it at the right time in development, it's going to screw up your development. The fluoride in the water, the chemicals that are in the vaccines, the chemicals that are in the pharmaceutical drugs, everything. And then, like I said, my belief, and I could be wrong on this, but I think that we're so bombarded by radiation, Wi-Fi signals everywhere, every TV, I mean every car has all kinds of different freaking radio signals going in and out of them, sensors that they're emitting. Some of them are emitting LiDAR, some of them are so there's just a bunch of, like, radio frequency radiation all around us. And I'm assuming, I could be wrong, I'm assuming that's playing a crucial role in development as well.
It would be so nice if there was a study on this.
All you have to do is take somebody that's grown up in the city, take a sample of 100 individuals that were raised in a city environment versus 100 individuals that were raised in a country environment. and look at their development. Just look at their side by side. Test them. Whether you want to talk about, regular brain function, IQ test, whatever, I guarantee you will see a vastly different result from people that were raised in different areas.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we could look it up, and I'm sure it's probably already been done. But then, okay, so going back to what we were talking about. We got to talk about another crazy piece of shit. Just because that's also, you touched on that.
I can't even, that boggles my mind. Like,
I heard a video, an audio snippet. It wasn't a video, it was an audio. And I don't know who he was talking to. Maybe it was police and interrogators or whatever, but he was basically saying something along the lines of there was, what did he say? He said there was this material in my body that made me do it. It wasn't me. It was that person or it was the ones that were controlling the material. Some shit like that. Basically, he said that he didn't stab this poor girl to death. Something took over his body and made him do it.
Okay.
So let me really quick give you the backup on this, or the backstory on this. I'm going to say this piece of shit. People are going to say, well, no, it wasn't his fault. He has a mental issue. Because here's the problem. His own mother had basically said that he was schizophrenic and he did not need to be allowed out on the streets, that he should be locked up.
Gotcha.
Okay. So he had mental issues. He'd been arrested for 14 times he'd been arrested. You would think that after a certain number of arrests and the person's own mother saying, hey, my son is fucking crazy, you should not let him out. You should think that at that point, a judge should say, okay, well, let's look at this as a whole. Yeah, even if the guy has a mental disorder, maybe we should also take into account that it's not okay for him to be on the streets, mental disorder or not. Because whether you're evil, whether you have a mental disorder, or whether you're just completely normal and had a really bad day, if you have the capability of killing somebody, if you're capable of that kind of violence, then you should just not be out in public. Like this, you should just not be interacting with people. And here's the fucked up thing is I'm almost 100% sure that they're going to argue some kind of insanity plea and that he's going to somehow get away with a much lighter sentence than he should. But at the end of the day, whether or not it's insanity, if the guy killed somebody, right? Insanity or not, whether it's his mental state or he's just evil, if you're capable of murder, there's zero fucking reason that anybody should have any leniency.
Oh, absolutely not. Like, yeah.
Listen, there are people that are crazy, and what do? Well, they fucking sit in a room and they cry and they whatever. But then, I'm not saying that those people should be dealt with. But people that are capable of murdering somebody, it doesn't matter the reason, you should be dealt with.
And 14 arrests.
14 arrests.
Like, that's crazy.
And so apparently in North Carolina, where this whole thing happened, he was in January let out without bail with a promise to appear in court, a written promise. So that means something, right? To somebody who's crazy. By a magistrate judge. Magistrate judges in North Carolina are appointed.
What is magistrate? What is?
They're not as, I guess, they don't have the same authority as a regular judge.
Okay.
But they do have some authority.
Okay.
Magistrate judges in North Carolina are appointed and don't necessarily even have to have any kind of legal experience. They don't have to be previous attorneys, nothing like that. And apparently, I don't know, this is the rumor, that the judge that let this guy out with no bail was never even an attorney. It was somebody that was essentially passing judgment in a court of law. How is that even allowed? With, I don't know. I look, this could be a rumor. Why is that even a thing? This could be a rumor. I don't know 100%. But that situation, the reason that one pissed me off so much is because, well, also scared me a little bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Terrifying.
So typically what you assume is that even if somebody looks crazy, right? Guy sitting there talking on the walls, whatever. You assume that if you don't make eye contact, you don't fuck with the guy, he's probably not going to do anything. Mm-hmm. This girl, I'm not even going to say woman because she's 23 years old. She walked onto the subway or the train. I don't know if it was a subway or a regular train. Walked onto the train, took a seat, had zero interaction with this guy. For zero reason whatsoever, this guy takes out a knife, takes a wild swing, stabs her in the neck. Now, the thing that is even more, not just scary, but also infuriating about the whole thing is this happens and he just walks away. And there were, I believe, 5 other people sitting right there in that same section.
And no one did anything.
Nobody did a damn thing. Nobody even looked over and asked the girl, hey, are you okay? Hey, what happened? Nobody even said what happened. Are you okay? Maybe if somebody jumped up and would have said, are you okay, seen all the blood, maybe they could have done something. Maybe they could have put pressure on the fucking wound and got her some help. That poor girl died completely alone. At least hold her fucking hand and don't let her die alone.
That makes me so sad.
5 human beings watched this shit happen. At least, we don't know about how many people were on the other side of the train. Watch this shit happen and nobody made a fucking peep. When you see things like that, when you see things like fucking disgusting pieces of shit celebrating that somebody was killed on all over the internet, not just 1 or 2, hundreds, if not thousands of people are out there doing this. When you see things like that, that makes me realize that I don't have as much hope as I once did in humans as a species. Mm-hmm.
It's just continuously getting worse.
We will eventually be the reason we go extinct.
I know that is 100% true.
Whether it's with war, nuclear weapons, or just people just eating each other alive because there was some nuclear disaster a natural disaster, and people are just unable to help their fellow human. It's crazy to me.
People are so afraid to help people now. They are, honestly. They are.
But that should not be the case.
It shouldn't be. You know, decades ago, you see someone in trouble, you help them. Now it's like, well, what if I help them and they sue me? Or what if I help them and I get hurt? You know, or whatever the case may be. People are scared to help people.
Yeah, but I feel like that hasn't changed.
I mean, I think
the mentality has.
Yeah, but I feel like it's more so that way now.
But here's my point: is that hasn't changed. 50 years ago, somebody could help someone and get hurt themselves. 50 years ago, somebody could help somebody and get sued for it. 50 years ago, somebody could help somebody.
But I don't think they were thinking about that because they hadn't seen it. Now we've seen it.
I don't think that's it, though. I think the mentality has changed. I think people have gotten just more selfish.
That is true. But I also... I feel like it's a combination of both, honestly.
But I'm not saying that. Listen, there have been situations that I've driven past and I'm like, I would like to help, but it's sketchy as fuck. It's the middle of the night. There's nobody around.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is set up for me to get robbed. So you're right. There is that little bit of fear. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it's the movies. Maybe it's you watch movies where stuff like that happens and everybody has this in the back of their mind of, oh, maybe that's what's going to happen. Maybe it's past experiences with like all these serial killers who lure people in by pretending to be broken down on the side of the road.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like in a situation like the train, the guy took and I mean, if you watch the video or the parts that were released of the video, he swings his arm way out. So it's not like it was a subtle movement. Like, you know that he either, I mean, what I would have assumed if it were me and I was sitting next to her, I would have assumed that this guy just punched her really hard for no reason. I would not have thought that he stabbed her until I noticed all the blood, because there was blood everywhere. If you watch the video where he walks to the other side of the train, he's literally just dripping blood everywhere, wherever he's going. But my point is that I would have assumed that she got punched. And my initial reaction, because the guy walked away right after. So now you don't have to worry about the guy being there anymore. My initial reaction would have been to turn around and be like, oh shit, are you okay? What happened?
Yeah.
Literally, those would have been the words out of my mouth. Are you okay? What happened? Did you piss him off? Is that your boyfriend? I don't know. What I wasn't paying attention, but I saw this guy take
are you okay?
Literally just,
You know?
are you okay? Because she sat there crying for a few seconds before apparently the blood loss fucking kicked in, and then she just collapsed. And let me infuriate everybody a little bit more. It wasn't bad enough that this piece of shit, after 14 arrests, was let out, no bail, randomly decided to take this young girl's life. Then, some other pieces of shit had the audacity to set up a GoFundMe for his legal fees. And in the description of the GoFundMe, try to make it about race somehow. That he was targeted and there was bias against him because he was a black man.
I want to know who set that up. I'm just curious.
That person should be fucking tried too.
Yeah.
Because you're just as disgusting as everybody else involved in this shit. I mean, here's the thing is, I would say that maybe there's a point. Maybe this guy was singled out on a train full of people because somebody said, oh, it was that guy right there, right? Yeah?
No, but you have clear
But you
video
have
of it,
a
like,
100% clear
shot
video
of what he's doing.
I mean, it was
what
front
he
and
did.
center. It was almost like it was set up that way. A front and center video of him doing it, completely unprovoked. So how are you going to say that this has anything to do with race or bias or anything like that? Like, that is fucking crazy to me. And that, I mean, that goes for everything. Not everything is about race. Just because there is a Hispanic or a black person or a white person or an Asian person involved and they're not the same race as the other person involved, that doesn't mean that it's automatically a fucking race issue. Like, not everything is race. Some people are just fucking assholes.
Yep.
And that's all it comes down to. And maybe we should treat it as such.
Yep.
Maybe we should say this guy was an asshole that killed somebody, and we should just try this person as an asshole and not as a black asshole or a white asshole or an Asian asshole. He's just an asshole. That's all he is.
There are many of them, and they come in all shapes, sizes, colors.
This is the thing that's crazy to me, though, is it always goes back to race. Why are the headlines always fucking, white guy kills black guy or black guy kills white guy? Like, why isn't it just guy kills guy?
Yeah.
Because there's that divisiveness that they want. They crave that bullshit so that they can have a fucking talking point.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I gotta stop.
They push
I'm
that
working
to
myself up.
make people upset, and in turn have certain biases or
Yeah.
issues with certain people, and that's just what they want. They want to put fire on the flame, pretty much,
Fuel on the fire.
Fuel on the fire. Sorry. Fire on the flame. Well, yeah, fuel on the fire.
Yeah. No,
Anyway.
It's whatever it is, it's fucking tragic. And I'm gonna keep it short. I'm gonna end it with people need to stop with this fucking violence. That's never the answer. You're never gonna get anywhere by hurting people, killing people, whatever the case is. You're not going to exterminate. For example, you have an issue with a political party. You're not going to kill everybody in that political party.
Right.
You're not going to get rid of them. All you're going to do is you're going to piss off the rest of them. So, fuck the guns. Fuck the fists. Have a normal conversation. It's okay for two people to disagree on something and still coexist.
Absolutely. How would we be if we all agreed on the same thing?
I mean, the whole reason the people have the freedom to think and say what they want. That is literally what this country was founded on. This country was founded on the freedom of speech, religion, and fucking everything else.
Yeah.
And for people to think that it's okay to go around trying to kill people that have different opinions than them. Shit needs to stop. If you take away one thing from this, love your enemy. That's what it is. Love your fucking enemy. Talk to your enemy. You'll find out that most of the time they're not even really your enemy. You might disagree on 2 things, but you might agree on 100 others.
Talk to each other, understand each other.
Learn from each other, grow from each other.
Have a resolution. You know, like
it's okay to just disagree and walk away from it and say, hey, you know what? We're gonna disagree on this point, but let's go have a fucking beer because we agreed on everything else.
Agreed.
Anyway, I'm gonna leave it with that.
All right.
I think I might just push out this episode tonight just because it's relevant at the moment.
Okay.
I mean, if it's not tonight, it's tomorrow. So if you're listening to this on Wednesday the 10th, then I put in a lot of hard work to get this episode out tonight.
And thanks for listening and watching. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Stay safe out there. Stay sane. And thanks for watching.